Can someone tell me a serious reason why San Francisco is doing so bad? Realistically, it is a number of factors. In no particular order. The high population density and relatively high salaries of the residents creates what can be described as a target-rich environment for criminals and panhandlers. Couple this with an ideology of tolerance and acceptance toward those who are different. Allah, turning the other cheek. An incredibly high cost of living that makes legal means of survival difficult for those without an in. A mild climate that makes the area survivable year-round even for the homeless. And you have an area that is capable of supporting a fairly large population of people whose means of survival is petty crime. 1. Weather. 2. Many other cities and states don't have the support system, resources for homeless that California, SF has. 3. You get arrested, jailed, moved in most of the country for doing many of the actions homeless people take. Open deification, drug use, setting up tents in a lot of areas, mass littering. This just isn't seen elsewhere because it gets punished before it becomes visible to lots of people. 4. Shoplifting items under $1K is not a crime. It is a ticket. 5. Lots of other policies like number 4. Rather than lock people up for extended periods of time, they let them out, don't punish them, and hope they don't re-offend quickly. Many do. Lenient, no bail. Extremely high bar to prosecute people due to risk of prosecuting innocents means many criminals walk free where in other districts they wouldn't. 6. Housing prices out of control. Homeowners don't want to increase housing density because their property values might go down. Many locals who don't own are desperate to stay. Many people turn blind eyes to things that maybe shouldn't be. Smash and grabs. Open fence use. Fencing operations. Remember though, it's still expensive to live there because people want to live there. Doing bad is a relative term. Reasons. 15. Attract some of the nation's and world's worst behaved people though. It has problems, but the faults are greatly exaggerated for political gain. Yeah, but let's not talk about the gentrified pump and dump that happened to the city thanks to Silicon Valley. Most major cities are facing similar problems. Homelessness will never be solved, and why should city leaders do so? Lots of people would be out of jobs if the homeless crisis is ever solved. Crime is rampant as police are severely understaffed and probably won't ever get back to full staffing. Low priority calls get put on the back burner. Unless the crime you're reporting is either actively happening or lives are in danger, you're a low priority call. SF county jails are understaffed. And the city, in most recent history, have been against jails and leaning towards restorative justice style. Which sounds good in theory but doesn't actually work. Repeat offenders and major felons being placed on ankle monitors. High cost of living forces some to less legal means of income. I say some, because there's individuals who do so for personal gain in ways that have nothing to do with providing for family or the betterment of the community. Completely unregulated homeless population as well as unchecked petty crime. The people you're asking aren't wrong. It's not. Most of the city is peaceful, clean, and prosperous. Guess how much press that gets compared to the 10% that isn't. Their last DA got removed from office, and their replacement ran a campaign of, "Hey, I will actually prosecute criminals." Not even joking. It's not. There's a housing issue across the country for a variety of reasons, but crime-wise it's fine. We saw a historic rise in crime rate following 2020 because COVID made crime go so far down that returning to normal caused a higher rate. Think about it like this. You get 100 crimes a year in a city. Then in a year you get 1 crime. The next year it goes back to 100 crimes. You could say, crime was 100x worse, if you ignore all context that 100 crimes was the average and the 1 was the outlier. This is what conservatives have done. The crime rate is low and it's been low for a long time. They can't win on real issues, so they lie and create fake ones. Crime is through the roof. Immigrants are taking all the jobs. It's nonsense. Tony Bennett left his heart there, and it wasn't long before the organ smuggler gangs took hold. And now it's all gone. Sad. You'll get a variety of reasons that hold some truth to it. But I think it ultimately boils down to wealth inequality. It's a high population, high salaried area. You are either well off or you're not. In city centers like San Francisco, there are a lot of people that are prone to fall through the cracks. They simply can't keep up with the competition or don't have the resources to do so. Why San Francisco in particular struggles is that they need a better support system in place to help and house these people. Ignoring the problem and relying on federal regulations to sort out the problem isn't working. It's not just San Francisco. Pretty much anywhere with a high population is bound to have more people that struggle to meet the income requirements. Also keep in mind, people outside of the city become homeless too. Where do you think people in the suburbs go when they become homeless? They go to the city where there are shelters and food banks to get help. They go to the city where there are more jobs and they don't necessarily need a car to get there. To recap, it's a combination of a lot of things, but the wealth inequality in that area is so stark that many regular people can't keep up with the prices required to live normal lives. There isn't a proper system in place to help everyone struggling there. SF of course offers help, but it just attracts more people from around the country seeking similar help. Remember that struggling people will do what they need to survive. The risk of stealing and going to jail is less than the risk of not having money and starving. Struggling people cope with their problems by leaning into drugs and alcohol. The bigger the market for drugs and alcohol, the more of it attracts. It's a vicious systemic problem that really won't get fixed until there's a way to house these people and offer resources to get them off their feet. Stop watching the news. It's not that bad. Enforcement of the state's laws don't apply there for the most part. And if you're black, or illegal, or Latino, my impression is that you can get away with almost anything. No bail laws, shutting down the prisons, while raising the monetary threshold for felony theft are just a couple of concrete examples of why it's gone downhill. The cops don't want to bother policing a town where criminals are considered a superior life form to normal citizens. And I don't blame them. The only exception are the obvious tourist traps where the police patrol to keep the golden goose alive. But even those are nothing like they were 30 years ago. It's not bad at all, save for a few blocks here and there that the unhoused occupy. Not any worse these days than any other city. And the economy is actually thriving. Lack of intellectual diversity when it comes to problem solving. If an issue is serious enough, then hearing different potential solutions should be warranted. If all solutions entirely toe a political line, then either the issue isn't serious enough, or the people in charge of problem solving aren't serious enough. SF is the result of political inbreeding and refusing to see any perspectives that aren't already part of the established playbook. Capitalism is the main answer. I'll come back and break down the sub-answers.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.